This upcoming NFL draft, the quarterback position is wide open. And as we get closer and closer to kickoff, I thought it'd be fun to review the film that we have right now of these quarterbacks and identify the best candidates to be quarterback one, that prestigious award of who is the projected best quarterback in this class. I'm fully aware that these guys are going to have an entire year of film. There's going to be surprises, but I want to set the baseline. And a couple days ago, I did Connor Wigman from Texas A&M, and I thought it was only right that we stay in the state of Texas and talk about Quinn Ewers because I think he's one of the most polarizing players in college football. Not only is he polarizing, he's one of the most important players to take a leap. This is a guy that we all expected to potentially go into last year's draft class because he was expected to take a major leap, and he did. Let me be very clear. He took another step from their previous season, but it wasn't exactly what we wanted. We are talking about a 1.00 rated recruit. That does not happen often. It's not a normal 5-star. And he goes to Ohio State, doesn't play his first year, not to mention he skipped his senior year. So it's not a normal freshman year. Comes back to Texas, has an okay year where he did get injured. And then this last season was supposed to be the year that he takes a major leap. And he took a couple steps, also got injured. And it wasn't really the year that we expected from Quinn Ewers himself. It was the year that we expected from Texas. They make the playoff game, but we all feel like he could take another step. There's another gear to his game. And just like the first episode, if you had not watched it, we are going to talk about the pros and cons of him as a player up to this point. And then I'm going to showcase one of his games that will kind of connect the dots to what I'm saying and what I am seeing. Now, I'll be very clear. I have watched a lot of Texas games and Quinn Ewers film and try to understand him as a quarterback. So just because I'm showing you one game doesn't mean this is the only thing I've seen. I've watched the past 2 years of him. Now I've seen development, but we could go ahead and dive right into what he is as a player right now from what I can see. But if you are new to Rush the Field, I want to be clear, quick self-plug. This is my passion project. So if you like talking football, if you like hearing my voice talk about football, anything, that sounded weird. I just want to talk football with you guys. That's my true passion. So whether it's a like, a comment, a subscribe, anything would mean the world to me. And that's all I'll ever ask of you. So let's go ahead and talk about some Quinn Ewers. So unlike Connor Wigman, I really don't have a ton of pros and cons because I think they kind of bucket for each little bullet point. Like it's not just like super in detail. I think if I were to put them into simple bullet points, these are what I would put. So I put like 3 pluses next to the arm. This is a super talented guy. Not to mention, I have talented in all bold letters. This is a super talented quarterback. We are talking about a Matthew Stafford level arm, and it just looks natural coming off the wrist. Like that is just point blank period. You're going to see that in this game film. This is a guy that can make things look so effortless. And not to mention, he is a modern quarterback. This is not someone that is a statue in the pocket that can only make plays from the pocket. He's mobile. Now, I wouldn't say he's this plus athlete that is super twitchy, but he's a non-statue. He's able to be mobile in the pocket. I think his pocket presence has grown from year to year. That's a great sign to see. And I think his processing, that's where I get a little concerned, but he does take what the defense gives him. But also on the flip side, and this is a con, and I will talk about it a little bit more, I fear that Sarkisian's offense, like Lane Kiffin, doesn't produce great NFL quarterbacks that are ready for the NFL level. They produce great college quarterbacks, and that's awesome for Sarkisian and the Texas program, but we are looking through the lens of the NFL, and I think that some of the things that you are going to ask of Quinn Ewers needs to be a little bit more complex than what the RPOs are going to be played for Texas. It's great for them because they have a ton of playmakers and it's easy for the quarterback, but when you try to ask him to go through multiple reads consistently, that's what concerns me the most. And that's what I would classify my problem with Quinn Ewers is I need consistency. That has been the I guess the calling card of what his career has been at Texas is inconsistencies. We are seeing some incredible moments like the Alabama game, which is funny enough, that's the game that I'm going to show you. And then you have games like against TCU in 2022, or you have games, what was it, like Houston? No, did they play Houston? That might have been Malik Murphy. I'm blanking. I do apologize about that. I think that there has been some real down games for Quinn Ewers in previous years where it's like, it becomes very inconsistent. And I think even Texas fans can agree to that. And like Connor Wigman, I have to highlight the injury history. It's back-to-back seasons where he's missing games due to injuries. And what concerns me a little bit is, yes, he has the size of 6'2", about 205. That's what's listed. And the difference between 2022 and 2023 was the fact that he had lost a lot of weight. He had cut the mullet. It was a big off-season story. He had talked about it at media days that he had gotten ripped and shredded. It was all about the biceps. There was the pictures that were released. I'm not trying to body shame. Shout out to you for getting as healthy as possible. But like I had talked about with Connor Wigman, I kind of want like my quarterbacks to be a little bit more beefy, be able to take on the hits and the toll of an entire season. And I don't think it's a coincidence. It might just be bad luck, but I don't think it's a coincidence that Quinn, as he gets leaner, yes, it's great that he's going to be a little bit more mobile, but it could suscept him to more injuries. Just think of like the best example I could think of is like Tua. When he gained a little bit more weight, he just had his fully healthy season. And it might be correlation versus causation, but like I think that the losing the weight thing is great and all, but I think if he was to put on a little bit more, it wouldn't be the worst thing in the world, and maybe it would help him avoid a couple of injuries. The last thing I do want to mention is his decision-making was terrible in 2022. It was better in 2023, but I think it was shielded a little bit from the scheme. And you may be thinking right now, well, Tegan, you are really focusing on the cons. I think the baseline with Quinn Ewers and what's going to help him get drafted if the draft happened tomorrow is he is super, super talented. You are going to see some real wow plays, but I think the floor is really, really low. And that's why I think I'm really concerned about him, because some of the easy things that I would say not very easy, like an RPO, I would say the easy things where you're supposed to make the quick read, take what the defense gives you consistently. He doesn't do that at a high level. And I think some of his accuracy kind of fluctuates within the game. And I wish that was a little bit more focused. Now, that's why this year is so critical for him, because he's able to come back into a situation, especially with Cedric Baxter going out for the entire year. It is on his shoulders more than ever, and I'm excited to see if he's able to hone in those incredible moments that we see against an Alabama, and the moments of low, like we saw with 2022 TCU, where they were basically in a 3-3-5 defense that put him in an entire box. Because the problem with Quinn sometimes, and this is when the lows hit, is he knows he can make every single throw, and he tests the waters. And that's why, like, I try to comp him sometimes to Matthew Stafford, because he can make every damn throw, but he will put it in harm's way. And I feel like in 2023, they kind of focused that in and shielded him from making those decisions, which made the stat lines look great. But I don't think he was asked to do a ton of complex things. So let's go ahead and dive into the film. I gave y'all my full review, but let's actually bring it to life a little bit. With Quinn, the reason why I'm highlighting this is a little bit of a concern of maneuvering a pocket. He's kind of creating his own pressure here. Now, this ball does get batted down because he's going from left. He sees, I believe this is Worthy coming over the middle. Right here, he's fine. But you could see with this pocket, he's staring down this defensive tackle. He's going to kind of trail left and just make this throw a little bit more difficult than it needs to be. Defensive tackle puts his hands up. Great play. But I don't know. Just when you're looking back at this, you're kind of hoping that he's not going to be trailing as much, right? Like, yeah, he could step up a little bit better or not create his own pressure versus trailing left into the defender. Now let's showcase the arm talent. This is an inaccurate ball, but I got to showcase how quick that ball it looks natural. Just point blank period, it looks natural. He honestly undershot this because of how the safety bit onto it. See down there, if it just gets right over here, maybe safety gets turned around. Is that Downs? Oh, that is Caleb Downs. But yeah, clean pocket, but it's just really inaccurate. Now, this is a good rep from Quinn, being able to step up into the pocket. I don't like that he's chopping his feet. And as I'm watching this again, it does concern me with how his footwork can be at times, but gets the ball out super quick. I mean, we're talking about, that Madden 20 Aaron Rodgers type of a release. He is that quick to get the ball out and with real velocity. Now, probably the most talked about play from this game. This is an absolute moon ball. This is just go run deep. Xavier Worthy is down there somewhere. Quinn, clean pocket, and it just looks so natural coming off the wrist. Only where Xavier Worthy can make a play on the ball. Just absolute beauty from him. He chops his feet a little bit, but it's hard to be mad about a throw like that. This is the talent that we saw coming out of high school, and we need to see a little bit more than this. But That's why the baseline and the ceiling can be so high with Quinn Ewers. I am going to point this out because it's very boring to point out, but mind you, if you look at Quinn Ewers in a lot of his other games, I mean, this is what I mean by the scheme and getting easy completions. This is why his completion percentage looks good. This is why a lot of the statistics can look good. I'm not saying he's not making difficult throws, but a lot of the times, man, the Sarkisian offense isn't asking him to do a lot. It's just dump the ball off to the playmakers and make plays, which is awesome for Texas, but you don't get to see a lot of, reading a defense and making a tough throw consistently. You get to see flashes of it, but that's why I'm concerned about him at the next level, because plays like these are just, routine plays. And that's not nothing. I want to make that very clear, but I need a little bit more if we're talking about the quarterback one in this class. For example, right here, what I've been looking for is with how good Texas's offensive line is, I want to see how he handles some pressure. Alabama's going to send a blitz with a couple spies, stands tall in the pocket, and you're able to make a throw over the middle. That's really something. You guys, if you did not watch my first episode with Connor Wigman, I value what you can do over the middle. It's not nothing. Like, it is some real stuff to be able to stand into the pocket and get it over the middle of the field, even if it's wide open. One of my problems with Quinn is whenever he is being faced with pressure, he tends to really get loose with his mechanics. Obviously, you're not asking for perfect mechanics, especially when dealing with pressure in your face, but it does cause his accuracy to fluctuate. You're going to watch right here. This is an open receiver that he's moving. He's trying to make the quick throw. It's on a rope, but the accuracy fluctuates when he's trying to get creative. This is why, he has the arm talent of a Matthew Stafford, but he doesn't have the consistent accuracy with the creative arm angles. He's able to have velocity with the different arm angles, but it's not consistent in the accuracy. That's what makes Stafford so special, is this would be on a rope right into the receiver's chest versus Jatavion. It's down and low, and it's a very difficult catch to make. It could be a catch for an NFL receiver, but it was a lot more difficult because of the accuracy. This ball should be on target. Now, down the sideline, and this is why I have a hope for him this upcoming year, he's relatively good. This is a 50-50 ball. Just absolutely put in the only spot that Adonai Mitchell can make a play on it. And this is, I think, honestly, not to discredit Quinn, this is a really good play by Adonai. But with pressure in his face, just puts it right on target. It's hard to be mad about those types of plays. But like I said before, I'm looking for that next step, that next step in progression, that next step in making a play over the middle. I need a little bit more. Right here, Alabama's going to basically lock everything up from Texas. They're going to have the flat covered by Kool-Aid. They're going to run a couple of drags. This is one of those plays where it feels like Adonai Mitchell isn't really running full speed. He gets targeted. Linebacker, who originally was covering the other drag route, picks up Adonai Mitchell, and it's an inaccurate ball. I know it's a little fuzzy, so I'm going to show you the different angle. Number 17 picks it up, and there's a little bit of pressure in his face, and it's an inaccurate ball. Those could be picks. I'll be honest. This is what I mean when the inaccuracy really fluctuates throughout the game. You can have that beautiful moon ball, but then it seems impossible to get a drag route. Although, and what's being skipped a lot during this film is the quick, just swing it out to a running back, because there's a lot of RPOs that are being ran. I'm going to be honest, and I could show you all these RPOs, but I mean, it would be very boring, and that's what I mean. A lot of his numbers get a lot of fluff because they're just being dropped out to the running back or a bubble screen. Now you're going to see a pretty good play, and what I've noticed a lot with this game specifically is if Texas was going to take a shot, it's basically we're going to run a play action, get Quinn as far back as possible, and let him read the field because Alabama was sending some heat. You're going to see over the middle, someone's going to break to the outside, be open, and he's going to put this on the money on the cross hash. I mean, that's a great throw from Quinn. That is a great downfield throw. I'm skipping ahead so you can see the other angle. It's wide open, but those are the plays you got to make. Those are the ability to layer your throws and put them right on the money. That's a great ball from Quinn. This is another play from Quinn Ewers that I think Alabama drops everyone deep, and he's able to find the soft spot over the middle. Mind you, he is on the other hash too, so that's not nothing. And this ball has to be put on a rope right on this line. Right there, put it right where Jordan Whittington, I believe, got the ball. By the way, he had a great preseason game and great yards after the catch. But these are the plays that you need to be able to make, even if it's a little bit behind, especially over the middle. You just want to be able to put it in a spot where only the receiver can make a play and you're not getting your head taken off. And he did exactly that. Once again, you're going to get a beautiful moon ball. He had 2 of these. They were the 2 best throws of the night for him. Although I would argue some of the ones that were read the field, get it over the middle, and especially with the context of they have to go win the game. This is to shut the door on Alabama. I'm going to give a lot of credit to Quinn, and you're just going to see some natural talent. The ball just gets out super smooth. It's wide open. Put it right where only Adonai can make a play on it. I mean, it should not be understated how quick that ball can come out of Quinn Ewers' hand with basically the flick of a wrist, and there not be a worry about the ball, being underthrown. When we're talking about Quinn, I'm not trying to be negative. I'm just trying to be realistic that I know how talented he is. I know he's a fantastic football player, but I'm really just trying to see him progress to the next level, and hopefully we see that from this year. Because truly, I do think he's a little overrated. I don't think he should be in the top 3 conversations of a quarterback right now, today, at this very moment. I think he's super talented. I think we could see a lot of growth and development from him. I just worry that not only the scheme could hold him back from doing so, because I don't know if Sarkisian truly feels confident consistently letting him, read defenses and making those decisions. In 2022, he was asked to do that at a very young age, and there was a lot more turnovers. This past year, the turnovers went down primarily because I think they relied on a lot of the, let's dump the ball off. And that's great. Once again, that's great for Texas. But from the lens of an NFL prospect, I'm worried it's stunting his growth a little bit. But I'd be very curious what your guys' thoughts on Quinn Ewers. I hope this came off as very objective. I understand I've made a lot of A&M content on this channel, but I was low on Quinn Ewers regardless of who I root for. And I still think he's a very good quarterback. He probably could win the Heisman. I'm being honest here. There's no reason for me to have a lot of doubt that he doesn't take the next step. I just think right now, if the draft happened tomorrow, I just don't see him as quarterback 1. And with that being said, thank you so much for watching. If you made it to this point, and have a fantastic day. Any kind of support that you give, any chance you give me to talk football with you means the absolute world. So I'll stop yapping. Thank you so much.